There's massive differences now. Before, many years ago, you'd have one man who would manage and coach and do everything. But now, managing a club, a lot of managers manage players in terms of, just getting motivation, keeping them focused. Whereas coaching is about going out and doing a session on the training pitch. So, so a manager will go in the morning and he'll say, look, this is what I want to do. But then a manager who doesn't coach will get his coaches to, he says, this is what I want to achieve, and this is how I want you to achieve it. And then the coaches will go out, put the cones out, set the session out, and will deliver that session. While that session is going on, a manager will step in and talk to players. So a coach will deliver a session. So it could be, I don't know, a 6v4 keep ball session where the four got to get the ball back, but then the manager is the one who will step in and he will control the session, and he will speak to players individually, where a coach would just put on the session. So there's massive differences, but I do think there's lots of. I think Pep is a manager coach. I think Klopp is a manager. I think Pochettino was a manager and coach. I think Frank Lampard is a manager, because I think Jody Moyes does most of the coaching. And so it's about getting the balance right. But there's big differences between a manager and a coach. As a head coach now, you manage the squad that you're given. So you've got a chief executive and people like that who will come to you and say, what's your ideas in terms of recruitment? But they will recruit the players. There's players above you who will recruit the players, and that's why you're given that job description as a head coach, because all you do is coach that group of players. I think when you're given the description as manager, I think you have an influence on the players coming in and out of the football club, and that's becoming less and less. I see that happening less and less, because the clubs want continuity at their football club, continuity in terms of recruitment. And what used to happen to people was you get a manager in, didn't like the players that were there, would get rid of the players that were there, bring his own players in. He'd most probably be sacked after a year, 18 months. Then the next manager would come in, didn't like his players. And so there'd be this massive turnover of players. Now, what clubs have done, they've developed an identity as to what their ethos is and what they want from a player. And that is the overriding most important thing about a right back, a centre half, a centre forward. And a manager has to agree and come in and work with those players. So when the manager goes, the players are still being developed. They're still being brought in and they're still being allowed to develop, instead of a coach manager coming and saying, I don't like him, let's get rid of him. So what that enables clubs to do is to sign younger players and to invest in youth. Whereas you used to get managers who come in and, Neil Warnock is a really good example of this. Lots of players used to follow him around, experienced players, because he knew what they did. But they'd be successful, they'd get promoted, then Neil Warnock would move on, and a lot of those clubs didn't have a long-term future. They'd have to be a big turnover of players. And clubs have realised that now, that they have to invest in young players and they have to have continuity. Now, continuity with a manager, it doesn't happen very often. You don't get managers staying in the clubs for more than 2 or 3 seasons now. So the continuity has to come from the backroom staff who are going to be there for many years, from the academy, from the CEO, from those people, from the people who work in those non-playing staff who are involved in recruitment. That's where the continuity's got to come. And that's where the difference between a manager and coach comes.